Together, we can make your blonde, blonde. Sheer Blonde Go Blonder collection by John Frieda lightens and brightens hair 2 full shades to give you your best blonde every day.
Hair talks. Make your statement with Sheer Blonde Go Blonder collection, only from John Frieda.
The following advertisement has been paid for by the big guy Ryback. Are you hungry? You know I'm so hungry, big guy. Hey, Mark, what brings you here? So I'm just here to hang out with my all-time favorite superstar of all time. What brings you here? Well, I'm doing a paid advertisement for Feed Me More Nutrition, available at feedmemore.com. Big guy, that is music to my ears. Did you tell the people about your Ice So Hungry grass-fed whey protein isolate, the best tasting protein on the market? Wake Up Unlimited Energy, the strongest pre-workout on the market, and the big guy all-natural testosterone booster, my personal fave. Big guy, you're on to something with this Feed Me More Nutrition. It is some top quality stuff. Well, thank you, Mark. It is. Feed Me More Nutrition. Premium, quality, the highest quality supplements on the market today. Available now at feedmemore.com.
Hey everybody, Pat Buck here. Winter's in full effect, and what that means for me is I hate leaving my apartment, but I gotta eat. So what I do is I use Blue Apron. What is Blue Apron? Blue Apron is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. If you don't know what Blue Apron is, shame on you. Basically, for less than $10 per meal, you order this stuff. It comes to your house. The stuff is fresh. It's great. I would say that I cook it myself, but that would be a lie. I actually beg my wife to cook it. But once it's made, I've tried food I've never had before. Pork chops and garlic piccata with scallion rice and spinach. That's on the upcoming menu, and I can't wait for that to arrive. Mushroom and chipotle pepper enchiladas with lime sour cream. Stuff you never thought you'd eat or like. It's fresh. It's great. Please try it. We got a special going on here. It's affordable for less than $10 per person per meal. Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. You know this service is legit because Sanjay Dutt uses it. And if he's buying this stuff, then if he's actually putting money into something, then you know it's good stuff. So what I need you to do is check out this week's menu. Get your first 3 meals for free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/conversations with an S. Even though it's conversation with the big guy, apparently the code is conversations. That's blueapron.com/conversations. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, and right now, I'd like to introduce a guy who lost his smile, a guy who took his brand and walked away from millions of dollars. He hails from Sin City. Damn it! That's enough for you two! Shut up! You're fired! I think he said we're fired. Shut up! Pat, slap my ass! It's time for conversation with the big guy, pal!
Welcome to Conversation with the Big Guy. I am the big guy Ryback, and I'm sitting here with the one, Pat Buck.
And we're here on a brand new episode. I can't believe we got those 3 big names to do our introduction. I mean, you had to pull some serious strings on that one.
You know, with everything the way they've gone since my departure from WWE, and for those 3 guys to do voiceovers for Conversation with the Big Guy, there's nobody more humble than myself right now. I mean, thank you guys very, very much.
I just think it would have been a little bit better if Vince would have wore his pants. You know, just
very unprofessional outside of TV.
But he was happy to do it, and we thank those guys for the introduction. But we're back again, and first off, we get a lot of, I think, new listeners weekly, and we saw it. I don't know if it was the little the Rubski from the Bruce Pritchard. I'm getting their name of the Something to Wrestle podcast. Sorry, guys, but they plugged us very well, and we want to say thank you. We plugged them kind of first, but they're a great show.
Yeah.
And I think the wrestling podcast thing is really kind of cool because we're all in competition, but we're not in competition because there's 24 wrestling podcasts.
You know what? You say that. I don't think there's any competition with it. You can't look at it like that. I look at it as everybody has their own little niche, and just let it's. And I've always said that there's enough money in the world for everybody, and you can't I listened to their episode this week, and I thought it was very cool of them. They didn't have to say that, and I appreciate it, and I'm very thankful that they did so. But they have a great show, and I listen to it. I started listening to it weekly now when I wasn't listening to podcasts on a regular basis. So it's cool. They have a completely different show and format than us, and I enjoy it. So why not talk about it?
Yeah, and it motivates us to be a better podcast. Whole bunch of them I like. So I think we got a little new segment on this show. Or actually, no, we should plug stuff first. You wanted to get to that. Let's be professional.
I think we should stick to the format, Buck, and keep the format alive. I want to say thank you to everybody, though. Feed Me More Nutrition is now available on feedmemore.com and available at illpumpyouup.com, and more retailers to be announced soon. Also, Wake Up, It's Feeding Time. A professional athlete's advice on how to succeed in the game of life is available now on Amazon, coming soon on Audible in February. Saturday, January 21st, Hazleton, Pennsylvania, PPW Shell Shocked, 5 p.m. meet and greet, 7 p.m. bell time. The big guy Ryback will be there live in person, handing out shell shocks. Sunday, January 22nd, Destiny Pro Wrestling, Ryback versus Moose. Battle of the Big Boys. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Battle of the Big Boys. 7:30 bell time in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada.
You got any? You're doing it. So only 2 appearances right now. But there's a big one February 10th at Starland Ballroom, WrestleProOnline.com. You can see the Ryback versus Brian Cage. Cody Rhodes will be in the house. All the WrestlePro regulars. January 20th coming right up. CreativeProWrestling.com. I'm actually really pumped. We got a new student that joined my program in New Jersey because of this podcast, which is kind of nice.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. So I have 2 locations in Rahway, New Jersey, and in Hicksville, New York. That is it's not my 9 to 5, but it's my, 6 to 11:30 is training the up-and-coming talent of professional wrestling. If you want to be a wrestler, check out WrestleProOnline.com or CreativeProWrestling.com. January 20th, Hicksville, New York, CreativeProWrestling.com. I'm trying to think of other shit that I just can't remember. I think that's what I had. Do you have any more?
I was just going to say to everybody out there, considering going to wrestling school, just know that Pat Buck taught me everything that I know about wrestling. So that will either work for you or against you heavily, depending on.
No one's going to sign up now. I don't want to go where he went.
You taught me how to do power bombs and clotheslines.
I also got us almost banned from OVW when you came back, and we thought it'd be a good idea if I gave you 3 German suplexes in the match, which I still think is completely fine.
It was my first match back after being released from developmental, by the way. And I was wearing the Gorilla Man fur trunks because Mark Henry had taken the Silverback moniker at that point, in which we got to talk about that whole thing with WWE, that whole deal. But I was I couldn't come up with another name. I didn't know anything outside of, I was like, well, I was a Silverback. I'm a gorilla. That was my nickname as a kid. So I came up with the infamous Gorilla Man gimmick. My first match back, and I told you, I hadn't been in a ring in it'd probably been a year at least.
Yeah.
And I said, I just need to bump around. I need to feel it. And I was like, give me 3 suplexes. And I willingly accepted that before we went out there and offered. And I remember there were a lot of people that were like, you shouldn't be getting suplexed 3 times. And I just remember thinking, it's a live event in somewhere in Indiana with 100 people maybe.
Easily. And, not even, barely.
Yeah, maybe 80 to 100 people, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be okay, guys. There's video of Gorilla Man out there somewhere in Cincinnati beating the hell out of 2 women in a garage.
There's a professional match. Do you remember there is a Gorilla Man appearance on the OVW thing where it's me and you versus Ty Dillinger, Sean Spears, and Cole Cabana, where we were the old enhancement talent, if you will, and that
was probably one of the hardest matches for me, leaving there after being assigned developmental talent and coming back. And that was my first show back that Danny let me back in.
Yeah.
And because I put matches up together, up to that point with all the guys. And and I'd worked with Dillinger before. I was there with him, and or been there with him, and that match got put together like I was an enhancement talent. And I just remember thinking, this is so fucking wrong on so many levels. But I wasn't assigned talent, so it was. But I still thought that I was just like, come on, guys. But I thought everything was fine.
Well, they're great. I like both of them, and but you can actually see the big rematch of Colt Cabana versus Ryback at WrestleCon. Two guys bought front row seats, and they tweeted me today because of the podcast. So I really front row is sold out for my show, wow. WrestleMania weekends. Second row is still available. Let's try to get 1,500 people there for the Thursday at WrestleMania weekend. WrestleCon.com for tickets. And well, one thing I want to do, a new segment on this show.
Well, wait, will Bob be there, by the way?
Well, who?
Am I going to meet Bob before he dies?
He might come to Starland. I could see that. Yeah, I could. All right, here's a hidden little gem.
Can we put him in a wheelchair and get him to this damn show?
We'll get him. He came to my last show in a snowstorm. He was there the whole time.
So wait, this guy. And by the way, we need to talk because you lost our tag team titles for WrestlePro without me being there. Which I noticed you never told me about it. I had to see it through the Heavenly Bodies bragging about it on Facebook.
Let's explain. Really? So, your first independent appearance in a match-wise was with my promotion, WrestlePro, and we won the tag titles the first night, and we haven't defended them in over 100 days. You realize that, right?
I choose to look at it. The glass is full rather than half empty, or half full rather than half empty. I should get it right. That we have been champions for 100 days.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. Very good.
We are undefeated the last 100 days, Buck.
So basically, we had to defend the titles. You weren't there. I couldn't afford you for that show. So Kevin Matthews took your spot, and we lost
that goddamn rate.
That goddamn internet rate. But yeah, sorry, man. I lost the titles. We'll hopefully maybe win them back one day. We'll see how that goes.
If you guys want to see the big guy Ryback live in your town, big or small, book the big guy at yahoo.com.
Yeah. And I'll be the one responding to this. Please, serious emails only. We've had a lot of shit fucking ones lately. A lot of good ones too. But
when the good comes to bad. You know what I do want to address off the top of this show?
Okay.
Is that we haven't talked about this, and I've gotten quite a few tweets about it. Is the show in Dundee, Scott? Is it Dundee 5-Star Wrestling in Scotland?
Dude, he's totally still forgotten. No, we talked about that. We had a whole episode on that.
Did we talk about him?
Yeah, we had a whole.
But I don't think anybody we've talked about me pulling off the show. Then I can't remember. Oh,
yeah.
I just want to say again to everybody out there in Scotland because a lot of people don't know.
False advertisement.
I'm not going to be out there. I'm in Las Vegas for an appearance in Las Vegas here. So anybody, if you're in Las Vegas, I should be promoting that on January 28th from 2 to 5 p.m. at the Galleria Mall here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'll have my supplements, book signing, Ryback merchandise, and meet and greet, and just we're going to have a good time from 2 to 5. I'll stay as long as the line is there. But I am booked on that day in Vegas now because of this promoter who I believe has sent the contract and trying to still finagle me for 31 dates. I don't know if you've seen that.
Well, okay, so basically out of all, a lot of riffraff comes through the old email thing, dude. I'll say this too. You're the first guy I've represented as, quote, agent, if you will, but I was really just going, hey, I know all the promotions. Let me see how this goes. And when you decided to not renew the contract, I was trying to figure out ways how do I take your bookings? I'm like, we set up an email, and dude, that week there was hundreds, if not thousands, of emails that flooded through. So I went through the guys I know, the promotions I respect, the MCWs, the all the different places that I knew would be quality. The House of Hardcores, my own promotion. Well, I don't have to email myself, but a whole, Heroes and Legends, a whole bunch of good promotions. The one down south that I can't remember right now that you just did, you wrestled Matt Hardy. I forget the name of it. God damn it. WrestleCade.
Heroes and Legends. Yeah, WrestleCade.
I went through the ones that I know that would be really good, and then I went through different ones, and one of them stood out to me. It was very aggressive, and we said the whole story on a past podcast, but the rough part is that they're still advertising you, saying that they have not announced that you're not going to be there.
I didn't know that.
That's what I heard, because I've seen a couple tweets saying, hey, you're going to be in Dundee, Scotland, and I think I don't know. I forget what it was. We addressed it one point, but you're not being there, and I don't think they've announced that you've been off the show. I think this guy in his head, he's a lot to deal with. He's basically trying to say that he has 31 dates coming for you, and that we've also made outrageous demands. A contract coming, and that we want to be flown to Scotland in a helicopter. We've made that.
Did he say that?
I think we said that. I said, let's say we need a helicopter ride.
Oh.
I forget what it was, but you're not going to be there, basically. So
no, and did I tell the story about him taking the train and all that? I don't even remember.
Jeez,
I totally have blanked out on telling that story. Yeah,
you might want to sign up for the concussion lawsuit and add your name to that list with all those people.
You know what I want to touch on before we get into everything too is, man, what a match between Kenny Omega and Okada.
Really? Okay.
That it's like 50 minutes long. And everyone always asks me if there was a list who I'd want to wrestle. There's a lot of guys, but I would love to fucking wrestle Kenny Omega. I think that was like, he is talented. And that match, have you not seen it yet?
Dude, I feel like a piece of shit. I am very, I don't want to say great friends with Omega, but I'm very, him and Kevin Matthews, who's one of my best friends too. Yeah. They're very close. And Omega has worked for me 2 to 3, maybe even 4 times within the last like 2 years. And he's not only, he did a seminar at my school, he wrestled for my promotion a couple times. He's the man. He's the coolest dude. You would love him. He's a great, he's not just good in the ring, he's a great person.
I've heard that from multiple people, and it's funny because he came to Deep South after I transferred to OVW, and then eventually I was released. I've never met him that I can remember at least, and it's always funny because everybody that when you're friends with mutual people, usually you're friends with their friends. Yeah, is always kind of how, or you get along with them, typically because you're all around like-minded people, but. Something you mentioned there, you had a seminar with him, is why the fuck haven't I had a Powerbomb seminar yet at WrestlePro?
We used to say that, but this is when you're on the road. I'm like, do you want to like come by? And you're like, well, I'll just come by. I'll give them shitty advice, and then I'll just powerbomb 2 guys and walk out. I'm like, that sounds great. Let's come by Creative Pro.
That would be a hell of a day. Work your size.
But Kenny Omega is, I think he has wrestling by the balls right now. He's with New Japan.
Good for him.
He's a guy that just like, I think he's just had match after match where he's just proved his worth. And he's one of those dudes that he doesn't give a shit about WWE. He just wants, to be creative and he wants to be happy.
And he was fired by them, right?
No, he quit. He quit in developmental. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
He was miserable down there where like he was just not happy. It wasn't his type of thing. And that
was Deep South Wrestling though. So
yeah. And after that, actually, he was there was a time, I don't want to tell his story, but from what I gather, he was ready to quit wrestling at one point and take on like a regular job. And he started doing a couple independents. And he wrestled for a few things there, and people took notice. Like, wow, this guy has a great look. He's super athletic. He's not a huge guy, but he's still like 6'1", like bigger dude, lean,
he's big enough,
big enough where he fills that.
He looked. I was watching that match, and like he. Very rarely do you see independent guys where you look at him and go, "That guy's a star." Like he's a star. Yeah. And I was from everything from his look. And he does that match, because we talked about it last week where I went on that rant and like
you broke Trent's heart. Trent's been in recovery ever since.
Yeah, I talked to him before that. I go, don't get mad at me. He goes, no, I probably agree with everything you said. But everything made sense in that. But the main thing because you can go out there is those announcers. By the way, I think Kevin Kelly was on. The announcers did a hell of a job in that match, telling the story for the match for the 50. Like they added to the match like they were supposed to. They didn't take away from it.
Okay.
But Kenny sold at the right points, like where they didn't just throw shit away.
Yeah.
And he just did little things, and you just look at it, you go, this guy is really fucking good. And in that, like you could tell, his conditioning is on point.
He never blows up. Never.
And I could tell that because he switched gears fucking 30 minutes in, 40 minutes in. Mm-hmm. At points, most guys wouldn't be able to switch gears. And it was, dude, I really, really enjoyed it. I watched it doing cardio one day at the gym. I didn't do my burpees. I did the elliptical for like 50, 55 minutes and just watched the entire thing. And much respect to those two guys for going out there and doing it. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, both of them, Okada and Kenny, big supporters of them. I'm trying to figure out ways to get Kenny back over here for a few things. I actually just wrote to him today about things.
Can you book Ryback versus Kenny Omega?
Yeah, absolutely. I
would love to wrestle him.
I don't know if you've seen some of his early stuff too. He's a creative dude. I'll send you some things on YouTube that he's done before wrestling where he shot his own material. It's this crazy video game fight, but he's awesome. So we're just kind of marking out to Kenny, but Kenny's a good dude, and
me up if you could though. But
yeah, no, that's fine. I'll be like, hey.
I'm kidding.
Oh wait, put you up. I didn't hear that.
I'm kidding. That goes.
I thought you said hook me up. Like, put you up.
No. I said me up, big guy up.
Opponent and outcome must be approved.
Must be approved. God damn it.
So, and I know I haven't watched the match back, and I feel like a piece of shit. I haven't watched Trent's match. I didn't have a login, and I love.
I'm an asshole too. I didn't watch. I'm sorry, I didn't watch it. He told me to watch his match. Trent, I'll watch it. I apologize. Sorry.
I just didn't have a login, and I like to watch the matches when I'm doing cardio. I always watch the network. I'll do stuff to cardio, and then I feel really bad about myself after, and I feel like a piece of shit that I'm not a good wrestler after I watch really good stuff. But I'm gonna watch that.
I should check my network to make sure. I haven't watched it in some time to make sure it's still alive, because last time I checked it last week to see if it was still up and running. My network was still on.
Okay.
The WWE network, but they might be canceled after last week.
Yeah. Speaking of last week, so the new segment on the show, which I love how we start getting into things we planned for, but they're like 20 minutes apart. We just ramble. So the next part of the show is going to be called What Did the Dirt Sheets Pick Up This Week? And the main thing the Dirt Sheets picked up is they covered the one sentence, John Cena is a poison. So how do you feel about, that's what, because I think the Dirt Sheets they're clickbait. It is what it is. They want to get the clicks on it. And I don't know. Do you want to elaborate on that? Because we said a lot of quality stuff. If people listen to the show, I think they kind of understand, like, wait, well, that's not all that was said in that episode, and there was a valid reason for that. But what do you think about that?
Again, I told you that it sucks that, I guess it's flattering that you have all these, they want to run stories every week. Mm-hmm. They don't do it in the most flattering of ways at times. Are you still there, Buck?
Yeah, sorry. My thing is, I'm just checking my battery, but yeah.
But they also quoted me as saying that he was a piece of shit. And I think a lot of people need to realize is that everybody else is an outsider. I was inside. I have my own personal firsthand experiences and accounts with John. And me with my Feed Me More brand and everything that I am doing, I base everything around telling the truth. And telling it, and some things are obviously from my perspective. That it would be detrimental to me to say things that were not true from my account and my experiences when I am also telling things that, you know what I mean?
I think so.
Like, I have no agenda, no reason. But like they say what goes around comes around, and I have my podcast now, and it came up, and I spoke about it honestly. And I always said, I was telling my dad was asking me about this because my dad gets the Bleacher Reports.
Really?
And he goes, yeah. He gets the notifications, and he read, and he was just like, he goes, what's going on with this John stuff? And he's lived it with me.
Yeah.
He's lived it from when all this goes, as you did when we used to talk all the time. And I don't talk to a lot of people, so you guys were some of the few people that heard live accounts of when this stuff was going on. And I just said, I just told him, I talked about it on the podcast briefly, and it kind of took on a life of its own. But John is a wrestler I have no problem with as far as in the ring. And he was always fine to work with, and no problems whatsoever in the ring wrestling.
So do you think he's a very talented wrestler?
I think he's a very good wrestler, yes.
Okay.
And I think he's held his own, and I have a different mindset than John, though, and I talked about this. and what I was trying to say from he's non-competitive, and I'm competitive. I'm competitive with myself, but I love the wrestling business. I truly do. I love myself too, but I love the wrestling business. John always says he loves the WWE, but he does things that are only good for John Cena, loving John Cena. And he did it, and he's shown it time and time again. And anybody who's anybody there knows that. And everybody knows that. That's on the inside there.
Okay, now you say that, not to cut you off real quick, but you say like everybody, is there any, I don't want to, you don't have to say names, but is there any examples of that in terms of, because people are going to listen to this and go, well, why is he's venting out on the guy that's been the top draw for the last 15 something years.
But you have to remember too this. I love and get along with everybody there and stay in contact with quite a few of the people there.
Okay,
and there's guys and like guys that I put over time and time again. In the Shield guys, I love the Shield guys because they're all good human beings. And there's along Rusev. I love Rusev. He's a good human being. Dolph Ziggler, great human being. Wade Barrett, great human being. Stu Bennett, sorry Stu, but like, and everybody else there, I can go literally down the list of guys and just say, I have personal accounts. And when you ask that, I can say, yeah, off the top of my head, I remember a time when I was out injured and knowing with the ankle injury. There was a guy there who poked him in the eye accidentally, in which it was John's fault most likely, and he had the guy sent back down to developmental and almost ended his career. But that guy fucking rose above and made the most of it and reinvented himself, and is the man, is legitimately one of the few guys you could say is the man up there, and has been a good soldier for them time and time again. And then there's also another instance when we were backstage at a live event with John, and I'm sitting there, and we had already been working together, and John already didn't like me. And just from when I say didn't like me, and just those personal examples of different things, of just not being a good human being. And
now, do you think he didn't like you because you were a threat? Correct?
Yeah, I think 100%. That's the only reason. I think from a human being, if we knew each other outside of wrestling, I think there's no problems. And me and John have been social, and I could sit and have a conversation with him. It's just, and I have no problem. And I was telling you earlier before I go into this story, I have a different mindset than John. I love wrestling, and I love myself, and I want to be number one. But I want the business to have the number one guy, whoever is the hottest guy.
You don't mind bringing up the people around you if the time is right, because you'll eventually get back to that position, and that
will drive me to reinvent myself and to try to figure out new ways to get over. Whereas rather than just stay the same and complacent because I can, and that's what you guys are going to deal with. And like, it's a different, and I dare outsiders to tell me I'm wrong because they don't know. They are watching the movie and thinking the movie is real life. You are watching a movie, so quit buying into the movie because that's all that you see. I have been behind the scenes, and I know the truth.
Outside of the stuff with you, you were personally affected. Do you think John's a good person? Yeah. I mean, clearly you have to admit he has a great work ethic.
Oh, I'll put over his work ethic. He has a phenomenal work ethic. And I've told him, I've complimented him when he done things in movies, and he had an appearance at the end of, was it the Will Ferrell movie there the last year?
Yeah.
He made the cameo at the end, and I had no idea he was in it, and I was watching it with my girlfriend, and I told him I thought that was really good. And outside of that, I've always been happy for anyone's success, but there's personal instances where he's gone out of his way to mistreat me, and for no other reason was, like you said, is he perceived me as a threat. It's because we don't have the same mindsets. And that his mindset is not good for the wrestling business, and it's not good for fans. So that's what I meant when I was saying he's a poison and he's a piece of shit. It's in that regard. But the other thing that I was going to tell you the story is we're backstage at a live event, and Pat Buck, I swear to God, 100%, I swear to God, 100% truth, like everything else I fucking talk about.
Okay.
There was a guy there who was a father who, I guess at live events, he didn't have a badge where he was allowed to come where we were at. So he had to stand, I don't know if it was 100 feet away, but they had kind of like a line with security that he wasn't allowed to kind of come across.
Okay.
But he worked at the building, and he told me, he goes, I just want to say I'm a huge fan of WWE. I was over there doing my stretching, just kind of away from everybody. And he goes, I just would like to say thank you to John Cena. He goes, is there any way that I would be able to do that? And I said, I can relay the message and see if he'll come over. Can you tell me what it is? And he told me that his son had a big problem bullying, and nothing was getting through to him. And it was only with the Be a Star with John Cena that he saw where that finally it clicked with him. And his son made made a total switch and stopped the bullying and got his life in order. And it was a younger kid.
Like he was bullying other kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bullying other kids. So that the Be a Star with John Cena was the one thing that got through to this kid.
Okay.
And changed his life and his family's life, because his family was suffering, dealing with all this stuff going on.
Okay.
And I will go tell. Man, that's incredible. I go to John and I tell him that. John looks up, looks at the guy who he could see who's 100 feet away or however far away he is, and he looks me right dead in the eyes and he goes, fuck him, and he walks away. So you tell me that 100, I swear to God,
what
and
the
there's
fuck?
there's other guys, and I'm not to say that I haven't been a dick to anyone before over like eBay stuff in the airports.
Yeah.
Who want 15 cards signed. After I say no thank you, then they insult me, and I'll fire off a fucking round on them.
Sure.
But for that situation, you're going to tell me that? And I honestly believe it was because he just hated me so much. He didn't want to give me, and he's like thinking I was going to win somehow by asking him to walk over. He couldn't handle that. So fuck him, and he walked away. Like, that's one little piece of everything that I've seen off the top of my head. So don't, anybody that tries to tell me different, you don't know.
Wow. Jeez. Well, that's a little speechless with that one. I mean, you try to like chalk it up like, everyone has a bad day and everything, but it's...
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm just saying in that situation right there, and he heard that exact, what I told you, he knew the facts of the situation. You don't act like that no matter what in that situation. That's where, and there's just so many other things. It frustrates me because people don't know, and they buy in, they think the character is the real life. His character is the ultimate good guy.
Okay.
That's the character. But people buy into it. And they think that, like, you're going to tell me you think all the bad guys are really bad guys? Like, come on, like, grow up. You don't watch movies and believe that the movie you're watching is real. You don't think that actor is who he is when he leaves that role, when he lives his real life. But for wrestling fans, they can't distinguish it. They don't want to. They don't want to. And then when they hear something like that, they think you're going out of your way.
So what I want to do now is I don't know if this will be a happy note or just a note, because I think a lot of people, the new segment is, what does the sheets pick up? And I hope we can play this every week because I think it's interesting. It's a good conversation starter. But I think what I want to do now, if you're up for it, is just to see if what you think about Cena, in your perspective, your opinion. Name a couple. I'm going to name, 10, maybe 15 talents. And I want you to say, I won't do one word, but maybe just one sentence, because we got a lot of things to get through, about how you feel about them. Are you up to playing the game, big guy?
Yeah, you're putting me on the spot, Buck. But we got a lot of good feedback from going the hour and 20 last week.
Yeah, we're fine, man. Going week to week has changed everything. This is fucking awesome.
And we want to tell everyone, if you listen to our early podcast, we were doing it where we started off, we did 6 our first recording. I think we did 4 or 5 the second, 4 or 5 the third, and then I think we did 2 or 3 the last one. Then we finally said, you got me this podcast equipment.
Yes.
Because I didn't know we could do, I thought we had to do it together, and I thought that gave it I thought being together gave it a better feel. I like it like this a lot more.
This is better. And also, my liver is not failing anymore, which is the real reason why we had to go week to week, because I'd fucking drink my face off and end up in a coma. But
well, think about it. We because this is wine night for when we do the podcast. I'm on the straight and narrow during the rest of the week, so this is a night to have a couple drinks and to have a good time with my buddy.
That's true.
And it's as advertised, conversation with the big guy, and it's you do 4 or 5 of those, the wine adds up really quick, and we witnessed that with you that one time.
Yeah, I know. Let's get over this anyway. And thank you to Cole Cabana, because he gave me the equipment to teach me how to do this, and then I gave it to you. So,
Cole, thank you very much.
Indirectly, Cole Cabana is responsible for this piece of shit show. Here we go. I'm going to name some names, and you give me one sentence and one sentence only. And if I want to continue on, I'll ask you about it. But if not, I want to get through this list.
I don't know if you know this or not. I'm dumb as fuck, Pat. It's been said. So I don't know if I could stop at just one sentence, but I'll do it.
Okay, here we go. Randy Orton.
Randy Orton, I've always gotten along with him. He was one of the few guys, and the period has not started yet. Early on, I'm a chatty Cathy. Early on, when shit started going sour with me, he actually pulled me aside and goes, "What the fuck is going on? Why are they doing this to you?" Mm-hmm. And that was one of our first real discussions.
Okay.
And really outside it, because I think up to that point we hadn't worked with each other, been around each other, and I was like, man, that was it was nice of him, and we got to go out there and work together. Me and Axel with him during Ryback days, working the main event against the Shield with him. And he was hurt, and me and Axel had to do the majority of the match. And ever from that point, we always got along great. And he's always been very social and very cool. And I think he's one of the best.
So we can give a big Batista thumbs up to Randy Orton. We'll give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Next,
big thumbs up. Yeah.
Okay. Next on the list, Big Show.
Big Show is truly larger than life, and I haven't talked to him since I left, and I was just thinking about that the other day, because we always used to talk while I was there, and I feel, and we've talked about it before with guys like him and Mark Henry, and he's an attraction, and he can go out there and do anything, but he knows how to work his size, and he's sometimes had to go out there a lot of times and not do it because of the system. And whereas now the system seems to be using him a lot better. We would text each other occasionally, and I always look at him as almost like a big brother, if that makes sense, as far as the wrestling business is fucked up.
And I remember at one point, to cut you off, you were telling me a lot during up there that you guys wanted to have like a really good program together, and that really never came.
Yeah, we never had the time, and you got to remember, and I'm a big, strong guy, and I could throw him around a little bit out there when we're out there working and do some impressive things. But he's at a stage of his career too where he's beat up, and he's not gonna.
He would have to be the heel, right?
Yeah, and I was the baby face, and he doesn't need to be bumping all the time, and he's put in positions working, and guys, I feel like I was one of the few guys that I worked with him a lot on live events. This is fuck the sentence, Buck. We're past the sentence for everyone.
I'll keep it. When it gets too long, I'll cut it off.
But I loved working him. He let me go out there and call matches with him, and we're the agents. We're thrilled with the matches, and they were 10, 12-minute matches, and he shouldn't be going 20 or 30. He has no business. He doesn't need to be though. And where he did the honors, and I can't say enough good things about him.
Okay.
And
big thumbs up.
And you know what? I'll say this, the merchandising team for WWE, get your heads out of your asses and make more Big Show merchandise. The guy is a legend. He's a future WWE Hall of Famer. And you give NXT people more merchandise than he has, who has not proven themselves for a week up there. You give them more merchandise off the start than he has right now, and that is fucked up.
That might be a headline next week. So big thumbs up to Big Show. You approve?
2 thumbs up.
2 Batista thumbs up for the Big Show. We're going to move on.
Which is one Big Show thumb.
Next name on the list, Undertaker.
Not a lot of experience being around him. I met him many times as far as just saying hello at the shows. And his career is obviously at a different stage where he was not a regular up there.
Yeah, that's got to be a thing, because, the talent really doesn't see him except for the few moments he's there, right? And they're probably not talking to him, so they don't really know him.
It was one of my goals to be able to have a match with him, because I would like to just put a match together and hear his thought process.
Yeah.
I would like to see him live in the ring. And just because you pick up little things, and that's what we talked about before, working with guys that are no longer wrestling. I wish I could have wrestled Edge and Christian, because you just get little things from guys that you don't get just working with developmental guys.
Sure.
That all come up together. But he always treated me with respect, and he was always kind, and he has a presence to him. You look at him, and you hear back in the day that he was the locker room leader.
Yeah.
Even though which is a lot. It can't be easy for a guy that was in that position to come to the shows and see a whole new crop of talent at a place that he once ran, and he doesn't interfere in that, which I think says a lot about him as a human being.
Okay.
That he kind of steps back and just he knows he's there he's not there every day, so to speak, but he was just always pleasant and always very respectful, and I have nothing but respect for him.
Okay, so we're 3 for 3 with that, with three big Batista thumbs up. Next one is, I'm just going to lump people together. This might be a weird one. The creative team as a whole.
I talked about this. Yeah, I talked about this on the Vince Russo podcast, which should be coming out very shortly. I feel the creative team has the hardest job in the world, and when I say that, I'll sum it up in this. If you tell an artist to go ahead and draw you their best picture, and they spend days, weeks, months drawing their best picture, and you bring it in, you hand it to them, and they look at it, and then they rip it up and says, "That's shit, do it again." And then they got to go back and draw it again, and they don't spend quite as much time on it again, and they go back and he rips it up and says, "It's a piece of shit." And that happens time and time and time and over and over and over again. And then eventually they just start drawing stick figures.
Yeah.
Because they can't keep putting in the effort that they were, knowing that they are handing this just to get ripped up. That is the WWE creative team. And anybody who says that is not right, fuck you. I am right.
That was pretty brilliant. I'll give you fucking credit on that one. That was a very brilliant analogy. So overall, you think that they're good people in a shitty position. So I think you're going to give them a thumbs up, correct?
Thumbs up. They bust their asses. They get left of that. By the way, a true story about this.
Okay.
So people that question my this and that, like that creative team gets left sitting around. Well, they'll be told they got a meeting at 8 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night at Stanford, where fucking somebody doesn't show up who's in charge until 12 or 1 in the morning because they had to go fucking work out when they told them to be there at 8 or 9, and they're left sitting on their fucking hands and not allowed to leave for 4 or 5, 6, 7 hours. That goes on a regular basis. And
Jesus.
What kind of human being does that? Not a good one, I can tell you that much.
All right, next name on the list would be Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
So in my new book, Wake Up, It's Feeding Time, in the dedication section, I thank the WWE.
Real quick, at the end of the show, we're going to do an Easter egg where after everything, stay tuned, and the foreword from the book, which is written by a hell of an author for the upcoming, for your book, which is myself, we're actually going to play that. So if you guys are interested, you can buy the goddamn book. But go ahead, sorry.
And thank you very much for doing that. It was very, very kind of you to do that for me, and I can't thank you enough. The Vince McMahon has let me down more than any other human being that I've ever met. I killed myself for him, and I wanted us to have a relationship and to be able to get along and communicate. And I went to him multiple times and expressed my concern with that. And I never once wanted to ask him for his phone number or give him my phone number. I felt that he was in a position of being the boss, that if he wanted me to have his phone number, he would have given it to me. Yeah. And I knew there were guys much lower on the totem pole that had his phone number that he had given it to. But we talked about my ankle story, and that only reconfirmed to me what I already knew, how personal he took everything with the lawyers and the attorneys, and with him trying to fire me and me standing up for myself because he hates attorneys. But he likes to punch you in the face and doesn't like to be punched back. I think we're very similar in our mindsets of being obsessive and wanting success. And he drove me to want to be more successful for myself and to get hungrier even before Feed Me More was Feed Me More. And for me, it hurt me not being able to have him accept me and for what I was and for everything that I gave him, and knowing that he knew he had a guy that could make him more money than anybody and that would kill himself for him and his company. And I felt like time and time again, what?
I think a big thumbs down is coming.
Just let me finish.
Sorry.
He let me down time and time again, lying to me. And rather than just being a man and telling me I did not appreciate you sticking up for yourself and keeping your job by getting attorneys, like, had we been able to talk about all that, and you know what? I'll take part of the blame that I didn't bring that up, because I always felt like he would bring it up and he didn't, and maybe he thought that I would bring it up and I didn't. But it always hurt me that we could never, I felt like that always lingered in the back of my mind of why the creative was so shitty at all the wrong times. And I give him a thumbs down only because of our current, the past of what it was. And like I said, I don't hate him. I don't hate Hunter. And it all stemmed from the ankle injury, and it sucks. But if they think I'm going to sit back and lay back and be a good soldier and maybe they'll bring me back. I worked out on my own. I'm doing all this on my own. I started my supplement company, my podcast, my book. I'm doing it on my own, my website. I don't need them. I still wrestle. I left on my own. And it always bothered me though that we didn't have that communication on that stuff, because it was an issue, and it 100%, it definitely played a part in everything. Do we dare say, I don't know if you want to, we can edit this out if you don't want to keep this in the podcast here, but the fact that this podcast has been mentioned in legal terms, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's another thing that we've never talked about is, when I left WWE and started all my ventures, the harassment letters they sent me, they wanted me to turn over all my social media accounts.
Yeah.
Which there's not change your name, not this and that.
You're on to something. We haven't talked about that. That's something I think you should talk about, because I think you're the only person that didn't sign that paper. Wasn't there a time that there was a meeting about this? And you obviously experienced it. I'm going to put this name association on hold, because I think you stumbled upon something that's interesting with regards to the social media accounts and the paperwork that WWE wanted. So do you want to delve into that at all? Or not really? Or just keep it personal?
It's fine. No, it's fine. They brought everybody into a room one day at TV, and Mark Carano proceeded to give a speech about how it was for something, and it was beating around the bush, and it was trying to say we're looking out for you guys. So how I promote fuel meals on my so that was going on at the time, and where you get 10% off and use the discount code The Big Guy and all that jazz. Well, Eva Marie. So I guess Eva Marie had promoted some stuff on social media, which people get paid to promote stuff on social media.
Why not? Yeah.
So the WWE contracts had not had the social media stuff because that's such a new thing. So they had a packet of stuff, and it was a lot of information. And they brought everybody in there and tried to get everybody. They gave a little spiel on everything, but some of the guys read the contract, read the thing in there before they signed it, because they got you in there, and then they handed them out, and then they started speaking, so that they start speaking, you're not paying attention to, you're not trying to read, you're listening to what they say.
Yes.
Well, they do that. But a couple of the guys actually read through it and saw that it says, they're trying to take over our social media accounts, where if we say something detrimental or promoting a brand that they don't want, they could fire us or fine us. And so WWE, Carano and everybody in there, they tried to force everybody to sign the paper in there without looking over the packets, without having our attorneys look over the packets. And everybody signed them except for me, and a couple guys left without signing them, and they forced them, they cornered them at the arena and threatened them to sign it. This legit happened. And they tried to do that to me, And I shut that shit down right away. And I said, I need my attorney to look at this, which my attorney told me, you don't need to sign this. They don't have to have any control over your social media.
I mean, you said like the people without guys giving it to their attorneys. How many people?
Most of the guys don't have attorneys.
That's what I'm trying to say.
They don't want you to. They don't want you to know how fucked up everything is. And this is everything that I've been talking about before. There's no need for it. Most of the guys there are just such great human beings and would kill themselves for the company.
Absolutely.
And they fucking just, they're so stuck in the past. That's what I always got. I want them to evolve. I want to challenge Vince and challenge Hunter. Make it better for everybody.
Yeah.
Stop this bullshit. There's no need for it. There's no need.
There's ways to obtain everything that they want to obtain and keep people happy. I completely agree. Going back to this, because this relates to like kind of something topical, the last name I have on this list, I'm skipping forward, would have been Brock Lesnar.
I was going to say you can keep going. I'm enjoying this if you want to keep going.
With the social media stuff?
No. The names. I like the name association.
Okay. I mean, like, we're not even going to get to our topic then. We'll just keep on this stuff then. I'll save the one. I don't think you even heard me say it, but the next one I had on the list was Zack Ryder.
Zack Ryder is hell of a physique. He was one of the guys. A funny story about him. He's mutual friends, obviously, with guys I'm friends with.
Yeah.
And I'd never met him back when I worked at Soli's. And I remember when I was released from developmental, and he came in with Hawkins, and I'd only seen like matches of them on Deep South.
Okay.
And when I was at OVW, and they came in, and I remember thinking, I was like, oh, I thought they were a little bigger, like heavier, not tall, like height wise they were fine. I thought they were just heavier, and I remember I like messaged you or somebody and said, oh, I thought they'd be a little bigger, but that got back to them, and Broski always brings that up.
Really?
Yeah. And so Broski, I apologize that I even said that. He's always been very great with me, very good with me, and I've worked him. He's actually, I remember working him very early on when I was a heel, and he was in that like the shit doghouse phase of like just getting slaughtered, and we would go out and have a decent live event match where we were able to put a little bit of time in. And I told him he does something he does so well is that he sold, but he stayed in place. He didn't flop around on you.
Okay.
So that you could process what your next plan of attack was without him moving to a different position where you had to change it up. He gave you time to think, which is a very advanced way of selling. He would still move, but he gave time between the movement. And I remember as soon as we got to the back, I go, you sell as good as anybody as I've worked with up here, top to bottom. And he's always been nice and respectful. I know he takes shots at you sometimes.
Yeah, he's a fucking bull. No, lately we've been on the same supportive train with each other, so we're cool for the time being.
He did message me and wanted me to ask you about the yellow dress shirt, about you big leaguing them back in the day on the Indies.
Fuck, dude. Okay, all right. So
what's the story behind this?
No, okay, yeah, all right, fine. I'll throw myself under the bus. No,
let's take a break right here for a pop.
Let's take a break.
Yeah, I want to hear this story. Let's take a break for an advertisement, and we'll get back to this story.
You're good at this. Great, thanks. Break.
All right.
Hey guys, real quick, we talk about food a lot on this show. We're motivated by food, so what better place to get your food than from Blue Apron? If you don't know what Blue Apron is, apparently you don't listen to the millions of other podcasts they sponsor as well, but I legit use this service and I love it. It's the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery system in the country. It's an awesome company, and for less than $10 per meal per person, you can feed your family and not even have to go to the grocery store and impress them with these incredible meals that you think you'd never, ever have. Not all ingredients are created equal. Fresh, high-quality ingredients make a real difference, so it's important to know where your food comes from. Some of you guys eat very bland. Stop going to McDonald's. Order this high-end, high-quality, fresh stuff. It's cheap, it's affordable, and it's really good. So what you need to do is go to blueapron.com/conversations, because you know why? We're going to give you the first 3 meals for free with free shipping. Try it out. You don't like it? Cancel. But I guarantee it's going to make your life easier. You'll actually look forward to putting together these meals in 40 minutes or less. Again, it's blueapron.com/conversations. Use the code, get yourself some goodies, and enjoy the rest of the show. All right, we're back.
All right.
Took a little wine break, a little live reads. And so you're talking about, we did word association. You mentioned something about broski.
Yeah. Thumbs up to broski, by the way, just to get that out of the way. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up most of the time. But, okay, so.
For me, thumbs up.
Me and I started training in 2001 at a school, the NYWC. It's the first student that I feel like, I don't want to like toot my horn, but I think I was kind of like the first person that they thought had real potential.
Okay.
And then 6 months later, Mike Mondo signed up.
Oh boy.
And Mondo had a better career than me. And then a little bit after that, these two fucking guys signed up, and that's Ryder and Hawkins, who didn't know each other, but they were around the same time.
Wait, they're not brothers?
No, apparently not. God damn it, they're not brothers. They can't team together. Major brothers? Which is, that's a thing. That's why they stopped.
Wait, why?
Because Vince was mad that they weren't brothers, apparently.
Oh, wow.
Like he was shocked. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. God damn it.
So I used to work, our home promotion started doing like bigger shows in New York. And the booker at the time was Mikey Whipwreck, who wasn't my trainer, but he was their trainer. But I was kind of, I was always a nerd. I was smart, and I would help book the shows a little bit, even though I was like 19 at the time.
Right.
So Broski likes to fucking bully me and pretends, okay, I was also a big Ric Flair mark, and I read in a book
wrong
one
with that.
time.
I loved Ric Flair.
So I used to go to before there was a WWE dress code, before this was a thing, I took it upon myself to go to every shitty independent show with fucking slacks on and a dress shirt.
Yellow dress shirt?
Every show.
Yellow dress shirt? Is that the one he's referencing?
It was a yellow dress shirt. So there was one show in particular where Broski was fucking, him and Hawkins and a couple other guys were in this persona called the Rat Pack. Okay. There was 5 of them. And they were all newer dudes, and those guys were in shape and they looked great.
So for I was independent, is that essentially the clique of the independent for this like new guys coming in, sticking together?
No, they were in a group like job level guys. They were like the low, like stick them in a fucking, enhancement role.
The job squad.
Pretty much. That's what they were. So Broski was a fucking jobber. All right. So not much changed. No, I'm kidding. So I come in there and I'm helping like a lot of things. And I guess I'm a senior guy, even though I'm fucking 19 years old. And I wore my biz cash to this independent show that I was helping with, it was my home promotion. And Broski claims that like I fucking big leagued him. Little does he know, I tried to work a pro.
That's what he told me. He said you big leagued him in the yellow dress shirt and to ask about it.
Yeah, and none of that's true. I tried to actually work a program with him and young Hawkins, who is now my partner, Creator Pro, and he likes to recreate history. But that never happened. I never bullied him. He just bullies me, and we're both losing our hair pretty badly.
He's going to be mad at that. I know that. He's been a big fan of the podcast, so I know, especially since we've switched to the weekly format, he was very supportive of that, and he's been very supportive of Feed Me More Nutrition also. So thanks, Broski. The big guy appreciates it.
Yeah, I hope he heals quickly.
Yeah,
so moving on the list.
Unfortunate.
Word association. Next one I had was this guy. He's now in the UFC. His name is CM Punk.
Oh, you're really bringing it to the big guy today. So me and Punk always got along, and even when we worked that first run, I remember it was in Tampa where we did that ladder match where the Shield came out, the lights went out, and they powerbombed me through the table onto the stairs because they'd powerbombed me through a table so much. We had to figure out a way to make it different for the TV. And I go, well, why don't we just put stairs underneath the table? And I had a habit of suggesting things that, whatever. But I remember texting because so that day I remember this really clearly. He had a big promo going into The Rock for The Rock. I don't think it was either after our match. I think it was after our match. He had a big, huge, it was a long promo. And if you're there and it was, I don't know if it was 2 pages long or 3 pages long. It was a very long written promo. And he had the majority of his day, we didn't talk at all because he had to learn this promo or get it down as good as he can to go out there to then, to free ball it. but to hit his main points. And I understood that. And that was, we'd done live events where we didn't talk about really anything except for the comeback and the finish. And, but not for TV. You want to try to get as much as you can for TV and pay-per-views.
Yeah.
And even when I talked about it before, when he would do it last minute and we didn't put a lot of thought into it, and it always really bothered me. Mm-hmm. But that day I understood everything that was going on, and there were bigger things past me on that, going into that match with The Rock. And we did the TLC match on Raw, and we went out there and we pretty much just did that match on the fly on TV. And at that point, that was the most I've ever done live on TV on the fly. And I'd had dark matches and matches in developmental. And I remember I was so happy for the both of us that we pulled that off, and everybody was happy with it. And I messaged him afterwards, and I used to have his number and would text him and occasionally. And I was just like, thank you very much for tonight. That was a lot of fun under that pressure to go out there and succeed. And he responded like, "You're welcome, buddy," or something, along. We were
good.
It was good. And it was more that second time around where things went more sour. And I talked about this before over in the UK, with the evening with Ryback, with the big guy Ryback, where they did the Q&A and the interview and all that. And I never CM Punk as a wrestler and performer, I never had any problems with. I didn't appreciate him going on a podcast and saying I was a steroid guy when I wasn't at that point in time. Mm-hmm. And I admit to doing it in my early 20s. And I did it from 20 to 24 or 20 to 23, however you're old. That doesn't carry over with you for the rest of your life. Like, once you stop it, you stop it. Like, I tried and I learned my lesson, but I didn't appreciate that stuff. And he wasn't the easiest guy. He was very opinionated, but we always got along at different times. So it was, when he did all that, it was shocking to me that he would, because that came out of nowhere and blindsided me. But I have put him over, and I will continue to put him over for having the courage to step into the octagon and essentially be a modern day gladiator and fight to the death, or the closest thing to it that we have nowadays in the UFC and mixed martial arts. I think he got put in a shitty position with Mickey Gall and all that, but the man believes in himself, and I'll never knock that. And he's confident. Do I think he works as hard as me? No, but I think he is a very talented, and I think he opened the doors for a lot of independent guys with everything that he did early on. We didn't see eye to eye on things, and he obviously has gone on record saying things about me that I don't agree with and that nobody else has come out and said. I will leave CM Punk neutral because I can't go one way or the other. I don't agree with I don't agree with everything. And I think the way that he said everything, it should have been handled better. And but we always got along before we worked together, so it sucks. And and I have fun on social media, and I've poked fun at him before because I felt like he opened those floodgates far before me. And
I do remember saying, like, I have dibs on the fucking running knee. Sheamus can steal everything else.
Yeah, that was very popular, which, by the way, I do the running knee now. So thank you, CM Punk.
It's a great move.
I love it, too. I'm going to be doing it against this week, the 21st and 22nd. Followed up by the GTS, so...
Do you feel the same way about the next name on the list, which would be the Vaudevillains?
Okay, so those guys, very little experience with them. The Aiden English guy is fine. I didn't talk to him a lot. But is it Gotch?
Simon Gotch.
Yeah, dickhead. I've said it. I think I said it before. Like, just dickhead. And I'm glad Hunico beat his ass. And like, Hunico, I love Hunico, by the way. I fucking love Hunico.
There's a 2-for-1. His name was on the list, so it all
double thumbs down to Gotch just because he's a fucking dickhead. The only guy.
Well, it's Vaudevillain, so it's one up, one down.
One up, one down. Yeah. I'm sorry, English. You're the up, though, so.
The next one I had on the list was Titus O'Neil.
Titus O'Neil is a guy that walked into FCW, knocked on the door literally, I want a job.
Literally.
Yeah. Lived near Batista, is great friends with Batista. And
Our favorite wrestler.
I downloaded the theme after you told me it on the thing.
You found it on what? I can't.
It's on.
Did you buy the album?
No, Amazon Prime is for free.
Oh.
I pay for Amazon, so I downloaded it for there to do a Mark for Life Snapchat. Or I should say I heard Mark for Life downloaded it for a Snapchat.
Mark for Life is Mark for Life's favorite wrestler, Batista.
Yeah, by the way, if Snapchat, anybody out there listening to this, and there's a lot of you now, if you guys could message Snapchat to bring back the Mark for Life face, they did away with it, and I don't know.
It's still not back,
and it wasn't as of yesterday, and I feel like I've lost a piece of my soul. It hurts. But Titus O'Neil is one of the guys. He's always been respectful towards me, and he's always asked me for advice and been very because we're obviously he's actually bigger than me height wise. I'm heavier than him, or I was, but he's always asked for advice, and like I was always used in a better position than him, essentially, and he always wants to get to that next level. And a lot of guys, I've heard stories about him in developmental doing things like that some of the guys didn't agree with, but I've never really seen him do. He's always treated me nicely and kindly, and he does a lot of good with the charities and being involved in the community. And in Batista, I got along really good with Batista, and I feel like anybody who's friends with Batista probably is a good guy ultimately.
Probably cool.
And like,
probably the coolest people in the world.
Stu Bennett. He hangs out with Titus a little bit, and me and Wade are like he's in my running of my top friends, you know, with you and with
Absolutely.
JD and so and Chris Cage, Kalen Croft. So thumbs up to Titus O'Neil, big thumbs up.
Okay, wow, good. So moving on, I only have 2 left. Okay. So reviewing this, you give a big thumbs up to Randy O, big thumbs up to Big Show. Creative team got a thumbs up. Vince got a thumbs down. Punk was a no contest. The Vaudevillains got 1 of each. Titus O'Neil, big thumbs up. And the next one on the list, Sin Cara, big thumbs up. And are the WWE agents, as far as the producers go, or the producers, if you will. Grouping them all in together, which may or may not be fair.
I love them. Really? Along with the writers, the creative team, have the hardest job in the company. And
for the same reason?
Same exact reasons. And they...
Not to put you on the spot.
No.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Favorite and least favorite, and reason why.
So let me finish my explanation first. They have to be the bearers of bad news as far as going out there, especially live events are one thing. All the boys are understandable on live events because you get to outside of like a match where there's occasionally a match you get jobbed out and then you call out a guy and you get jobbed out again. But it's usually an entertaining role.
What do you mean by jobbed out?
I say jobbed out where you get beat quickly. Where you go out there and you lose a match in a within 30 seconds or a minute. And you get on the microphone and blah, blah, blah. I came here to win. Nobody could beat me. That was a fluke. And then Big Show comes out and choke slams you and beats you 1, 2, 3. Heath Slater is the master at that role, or he was.
It's a great job.
He would make it.
It was my dream job.
He would make it way more entertaining than it had any business being entertaining. And I love Heath, and everybody loves Heath. He knows that he'll go out there and he'll make it work. They have a very tough job on TV and pay-per-views of communicating what the boss wants. And that is their job, and it is their job. I always thought Arn Anderson was really, really good at communicating, and he is very good at communicating the finish of the match, but doing it in a sensitive way where you can at least he will make you feel it could be the shittiest situation, and he will find a way to where he softens the blow somehow.
Okay.
And he did that with me time and time again. He was with me a lot. I'm going to kind of, I don't want to sit there and say, I don't want to say favorite and least favorite, because I didn't get the opportunity to work with all of them the same amount. But I definitely, I enjoyed working with Arn Anderson and Fit Finlay a lot. And because they both, I felt like, respected me enough to know that what I was doing, where they let me go out there and do what I wanted. Where they didn't. What's that?
Was it always that way with Finlay?
No, I thought for a while, I thought he was kind of negative towards me and didn't respect me early on. And that always really, really bothered me. But after that Ryback period, and I just kept busting my ass. I didn't care what the finish was. I was just like, I'm just going to keep getting bigger, getting stronger, just keep getting better. And with what I was allowed, it's hard to sit there and make the most out of a 3-minute match on TV. But when I was allowed 20 minutes or 15 minutes on a live event, I would make sure that I fucking put in my fucking time. And
was he the guy that was there for a lot of that stuff, like the live events?
And I slowly won him over from what I was told. I remember one of the other producers who's no longer there telling me that exact situation, that he didn't like me. But I feel like he didn't know me before. And I felt like once he got to know me, then he did like me and he respected me, I was told. And to me, that was, it made me feel, that felt as good as anything up there to hear that. Because that's what you want, the respect of your peers and the producers especially, because those guys most of them are Hall of Famers and guys that have seen everything. So
I remember you telling me that specifically. That's why I brought it up and kind of did it that way, because you said like for a while you're like, Finlay hates me. Finlay doesn't whatever. Yeah. And I think Finlay probably looked at you like kind of what the forward of your book is going to say, but had that prejudice like this guy's just here. He's a fucking bodybuilder guy. Fuck this guy. And then when he saw your work ethic, like, fuck, this guy belongs. He gets it, and that probably was more rewarding at the end of it, knowing like, oh shit, I got this, who may be one of, dare I say, top 10 most respected workers of all time.
Absolutely.
Finlay in that regard.
And I think people have to remember, like people and with my style and my size, you got to, like, and Brock Lesnar is a good example of this. He doesn't go out there and chain wrestle. Brock Lesnar knows how to go out there and chain wrestle. I know how to go out there and chain wrestle. It doesn't fit.
It wouldn't fucking make sense for you to like lock up and grab a hammer.
You remember that match with Kane and Big Show back in the day on Raw? I think it was, where they chain wrestled for a lot. It was like,
no, but I want to watch it.
Look it up. I'll find it for you. It was, you could tell it was those guys that they were like, all right, we're going to go out and show everybody we could work. And like, I remember watching it home and being like, why are they doing this? Like, it not being in the business. And that's why I don't adhere to that style, because there's smaller guys where that benefits them because they don't have the power moves that I have. And there's different styles. And I feel like our fans don't respect the different styles. It sucks, but that to me was a huge victory for me with Fit. Being able to,
you bring up a great point though with the fans not before we get to that, like I thought that too. Like I agree with you. People don't respect a certain style. Case and scenario, cruiserweights are all the rages this year.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that when they get down to their style, everyone is either high flyer or technical.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, like, is that the only style that exists? Like, there's a power guy, which isn't a cruiserweight, a technical style, and a high flying style. And it's like almost kind of, I don't. It makes me scratch my head a bit, because like it just goes with what you were saying with how fans are kind of, I don't know, like they don't respect certain. I'm probably saying this wrong. I also drank a lot of wine, but
I said it earlier on. I actually said it on Twitter today. Our fans are green. They want to sit there and say wrestlers are green. We have green fans where they don't know how to be true fans because they're so new to this, and they're just opinionated as fuck, and they think they know when they don't know. On talking about the different styles, I think Okada and Kenny Omega kind of broke that barrier down a little bit, where they have their own style, but they sold and they made everything mean something, which is why I like that match so much. It wasn't just high spots. They told a story.
Yep.
And the fact, like Seth Rollins is another guy who can do anything in the book, but he knows how to tell a story, and like that's why I like Seth so much. He's new school, but he understands old school and respects it. It's a lot of the independent guys don't respect the old school. Respect the old school. New school's cool. I like it. But you got to pace yourself on it. Where a lot of them say, "Fuck it, I'm just going to go out and blah blah blah." Like that's being disrespectful to the old school psychology. Which is why you're in the business. So,
Moving overall. I'm sorry, I cut you off because beforehand we were talking about you talked about Finley's respect, and you didn't want to give a favorite or not favorite agents. So overall
though, and again, I worked with Michael Hayes during my main event run, the multiple times there in the main event scene. I worked with Hayes very closely. He was always fine. He was always treated me with respect. I thought Hayes wanted to know everything beforehand, which I didn't always like.
Okay.
And I remember a scenario with him. It was me and Cesaro, and it was a TV match, and this was during my first run in the main event. And we did something where Cesaro went for his finish on me, and I threw him up into my finish out of his finish. And Hayes, though, was like, he'd said something in the back where he goes, and Cesaro at that time was very quiet. He's learned the deal. Where Hayes was like, I don't know if that's going to work. And I said, fucking trust me, it will work. And Cesaro just kind of looked at me, and Hayes looked at me, and it fucking worked. Because I knew it was going into the finish,
Why wouldn't it work? What was the reasoning behind that?
I don't remember what it was, but there was something. He'll tell you when he doesn't feel something, which I respect. Like that's his right.
Maybe it was one of those things like, oh, the finish isn't over to a degree, so when he goes for that pile driver thing, they won't pick up on it. I don't know.
That honestly could have been it all, absolutely. And where he just thought maybe it was flat. And if you go back and watch that match on YouTube, it was somewhere in 2012, I believe, where he goes for it, and then I launch him up into it, and the crowd, like, they come with it. And he was like, God damn it, you were right. And I was just like, I know what I'm doing.
Felt good.
But it felt good to be able to. I didn't even think about it when he said that. I just spoke up and like, fucking trust me. I know. Like I've been in the system now long enough, and but I always enjoyed it. And those guys have a very difficult job. They get stuck waiting around at TV for Vince and everybody to come on in, and they are just simply doing what they are told, and it can't be easy. To be in the position they're in, and I have nothing but respect for each and every one of them. So,
wow. Okay, so it's a big thumbs up again across the board for that one. The last one on the list, we got to it. We got away from it. I want to get into it because it's very topical. We're not even gonna get to the fucking thing I wanted to talk about today, which is fine. But the last name on the list is Brock Lesnar.
I always enjoyed every encounter I had with Brock. But early on,
I remember these Voxes. You have got to talk about this. So I remember, and I'm gonna let you tell the story. But I remember distinctly you voxing me, going, "All right, so Brock's back here. He keeps fucking looking at me. I don't know what the fuck is going on." I remember this distinctly.
Yeah, and I will say it's been on my one. I have one goal board upstairs. It says Ryback versus Brock. I don't know if you saw that when you were out here in my game room.
That was pretty. You know what? You actually, dare I say, you motivated. My wife was really impressed with the goal boards, and she's like, I kind of want to get one. Like, I didn't really, like, I have one in my office right here right now. But, like,
I have them everywhere.
She was, dude, they're everywhere. All over your fucking mansion.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool.
And I've had that one on there. And I will say, I want Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and I won't. And I don't care what my situation is with everything. I've said that time and time again, and that will break pay-per-view records. And I'm one of the few guys he cannot manhandle. And I love the challenge of everyone, like this guy who everyone thinks is indestructible. I love that fucking challenge, and it motivates me. It makes me want to go fucking train for 10 hours a day. I want that responsibility to be like, holy shit, if I don't bust my ass to go in there with this guy, I'm going to get my ass kicked. I want that. and like, because nobody will fucking step up like me. And Brock early on. So, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead. No. So talk about that time he was kind of around.
He just came back because if you remember, he debuted on Raw. I debuted on SmackDown the following night.
Okay.
And against Barry Stevens.
Holy shit. So this was like, wow, I didn't realize the time period.
Yeah.
So your debut was mirrored with the time he came back?
Orlando, Florida.
Wow.
His was Raw in Miami. Mine was in Orlando, Florida against Barry Stevens, if you want to go look it up.
Barry Stevens. I remember it.
The greatest place on earth is the line for Disney World with an F for Earth. Great.
Wow. I didn't know it was the same time. I thought you already established it. I had the memory wrong.
Yeah.
Like you were just starting off.
And so some point after that, we're at TV. This could be months later or weeks later. And I'm sitting in the stands, and we talked about my Captains of Crush hand grippers.
Yes.
I bring them on the road with me when I was on the road with WWE.
I didn't know they were called Captains of Crush. Yeah. That should be our tag team name.
And I
knew they were hand grips. I didn't know they were called Captains of Crush.
Look them up. They're legit, dude. They're the most legit hand grippers in the world. And
yeah, but the Wizard just took a back bump. That's like his favorite, like to hear the Captains of Crush.
he is foaming at the mouth to get put in a full Nelson by the big guy.
The Captain of Crush.
He wouldn't even be able to fucking get out the wow of oh wow with me, Buck.
Real quick, right before you say that. The Starland Ballroom commercial, I didn't send it to you yet, but I will. They won. It's like a rundown of the card, February 10th, WrestlePro Online. And we snuck in a Wizard. Like there's action shots.
Yeah.
There's like all this different things. And real quickly, there's a Wizard like full Nelson scene that cuts out that nobody notices yet.
No way.
But I'll send it to you. So if people, I swear to God, if you want to check out WrestlePro on Facebook. But anyway, back to
you're running
Brock.
commercials for that?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna do commercials on Raw and SmackDown, maybe for like 2 or 3 weeks.
You know, I should say, you guys, come on out to the Starland Ballroom. And where's it at again, Buck?
Sayreville, New Jersey.
It's me versus Brian Cage, the Machine Brian Cage. Big guy versus big guy, and for the first time ever. So come on out. I promise you, it's going to be well worth the price of admission. But on to Brock Lesnar, and
yes.
So I'm sitting in the stands one day. And I'm doing my hand grips like a dickhead because I'm like, we're waiting.
I didn't know you're doing hand grips. That makes it better.
Yeah. I brought them. So I would do them usually like in the car on the ride to the next town, like a couple nights a week. And I always loved the hand grips because after I would do them, I would always get a compliment by an unknown stranger, like, wow, your forearms are amazing, or you have great vascularity in your forearms. So it always just kind of like, it kind of motivated me to want to do them. Oh, they're working. And so I'm sitting in the stands, and it's him, Hunter, and Vince are standing in the ring. And I'm like midway up whatever arena we were at. And him, Hunter, and Vince had their backs turned to me. And they all turn and look at me at the same time while I'm just sitting there looking at them doing my hand grips. And
just squeezing the grip
while they're staring at me. And I'm making eye contact with them. None of us are breaking eye contact. And then they start talking. So like I'm doing my hand grips. We're making eye contact. And now all three of them are talking back and forth to each other, all just staring at each other like this. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is so weird. I'm not breaking my fucking attention. They're going to fucking... So, like, we all keep staring at each other. So it turns out, Hunter actually came up and told me later on. Hunter always used to come up and, like, talk to me and tell me little things early on. And he helped me, like, with my entrance. And, like, he did different things for me where I'm not going to always bash Hunter. Like, we didn't see eye to eye on things, but, like, there were good moments there. And he told me that Brock thought I looked like Shane Carwin. And it like triggered something in him. And I think that's fucking hilarious.
Hilarious. Because Shane Carwin beat the fuck out of him until Shane Carwin got gassed and then Brock got him.
And but
I thought, when you told me that, you're like, dude, he keeps fucking staring at me all day. I'm like, and he told me that, I'm like, oh my God, that makes total sense. Like,
yeah. And so before that, there was an instance where other WWE talent saw this. I was warming up right before my match. Brock was with Paul like maybe 100 feet away, 150 feet away. I was doing my bands and doing burpees and doing push-ups and blowing myself up before I went out there to work.
You would blow yourself up before a match?
And just get
like burpee-wise, really?
Just get like, not all the time, but when I was really fucking, I would jump rope. I jump roped all the time. But there were early on, I would do burpees early on because you blow up, you get your wind back, but you kind of like you're in your second wind where you don't blow up as much. But he would just stare a hole through me from a distance with Paul. Paul would be like just talk, but Brock would just be, and then like more than when you knew like what the fuck. It's big guy heat, which is a very real thing. Which
I was about to say that. Fuck big guy heat. Yeah,
where a big guy sees another big guy and he's like, he's not as big as me or he's not as strong as me. It's a very real thing and it happens. I encounter it every day of my fucking life, and I'm at an age now where I don't care anymore. But I see guys in the gym all the time. Like they bow up when I come walking by, and I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ! Like I'm not like, it's just, come on, guys. Like let's just fucking all get along. And there's room for enough big guys. I'm the big guy trademarked. But but I remember there was one funny story with Brock where I have those bands where like I bought them from Sports Authority at the time, back in the day. They had I think they were like 60 or 70 pound bands. I think they were 60-pound bands, where they're very heavy resistance. And I was doing them, and then I would always bring them out and set that in my jump rope out at wherever I was warming up before the show. And one day I was like away from a distance, and I got done doing them, and I walked away and started a conversation with somebody. And I like looked over, and like Brock, I encountered Brock walking over and like look around. And he didn't see me, and then he like tried the bands to see how hard they were, and he just did them a few times and then put them back.
Really?
Yeah. And I always laugh at that. He always used them to warm up after that, though. So I was like, oh, it's good. My bands are good enough for fucking Brock. So they're not those pussy little thin green ones. You know, these are fucking thick man bands.
That's what I use. I use the green ones. God damn it.
God damn it, Buck. Come on, you're killing me.
I do my little push-ups, my DDP yoga, and bands. But it's very topical because Brock Lesnar this week, or dare I say last week, he was suspended. I mean, no, he was suspended, but his purse, he lost 10% of his purse for the fight with Markn, which I believe he got $2.5 million for. Just this week, Mark Hunt has sued UFC and Brock Lesnar in a civil suit based upon the fact that he feels cheated, that it was a legit athletic contest, and that and the example that it's setting for MMA, the fact that Brock Lesnar failed the wellness test and was caught for that, and he walks away with still $2.25 million instead of 2.5. I thought it was interesting to bring up, especially because the last episode we covered the wellness policy.
And Mark Hunt is 100% in the right with that, because if you look at how Brock won that fight and with his wrestling and essentially controlling him with his strength and power and skill, so my thing is this with this, Pat. Sonny is whining.
Is that your dog?
Sonny. I'm going to let him hop up. Come on, boy. Come on to daddy.
Yeah, pick him up, man.
My little dog, I've been busy all day working, so Sonny and Sophie they've been here with me. I left for the gym and to do some other things to see Shira, by the way, who has cancer. I told you we got her on the Rick Simpson oil, the weed oil, and it.
I mean, you can say like one of your dogs is a little bit older and has little health issues.
12 and a half years old, But
has some tumors on them. But you've discovered this thing called, what is it? Rick Simpson?
Rick Simpson oil, which is weed oil. It has some other ingredients in it. But her chemo quit working, and her tumors were growing so fast they were bursting through her skin and started bleeding. We put her on this weed oil earlier this week on Tuesday. Her bumps have all gone down everywhere. But one of them started bleeding on her chest, the one that was a huge mass. So my dad has blood all over his house. But luckily we have the cone that goes over her head because she kept licking it, which made it bleed. So now, but it's gone down. It's going down. So And they say dogs heal at just an exponential rate. They heal so much faster than humans. I kid you not, the bumps that were on her back, the tumors that were growing, have all gone down. They're half the size that they were.
Because of this marijuana oil called Rick Simpson oil.
So my dad, we started rubbing it on the big tumors on her, and it makes her tired. But he has to rub it on her gums. He puts on gloves.
So it's like cannabis. It does probably get her high too, right?
Absolutely,
like relaxed,
yeah.
or
But it calms her down. But she still does everything and moves around, and because her chemo quit working. But the chemo is so bad for dog, it was killing her. The chemo was killing her too. And now she's back to her old self as far as being happy and like moving around. But she gets when you give her the weed oil, she gets very tired, and she
Sure.
So, but it
eats a lot of pizza.
Yeah, it is very difficult to. And I know I'm going off topic a little, but I wanted to talk about this.
Who cares?
I want to be more than wrestling with this, but we've done wrestling a little bit here.
Mark for Life's not happy, but who gives a shit?
It's so gut wrenching to have animals that you love, and I got her when I got signed by WWE and left for wrestling.
Really?
So
wow.
It's like, to me, I hold on to my like. It's funny how you remember your dogs for that period of your life. And I remember Roxy, Pebbles, and Bam Bam, the other dogs of mine that I had put down before that. And I associated them with my childhood. Roxy Shiro was essentially the beginning of my wrestling career. And she was.
Okay.
So it's sad to see that her life is coming towards an end. But we're hoping we can get another year. And this oil, I'm hoping, because it is working already. But she is in a very advanced stage with cancer, and it's hard. And my dad loves her so much. I could tell. I walked in today after the gym. I come over there and I go grab a Pollo Loco and come in, and I usually hang out for 30, 45 minutes, and I see my dad almost every day, and that's kind of like my way of just hanging out with my dad and my dogs, and I walked in and my dad was lying on their dog beds with her. I got them some dog beds for Christmas for the floor. And he's like lying on the dog bed holding a towel to her chest because she's bleeding so much. And with a bucket full of water. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It's hard to see. And I'm like at a level like with everything where I understand death, and death is, I'm happy for her to move on, and like, because life never ends, but it's hard because you miss what you love, as you know, and on a whole other level. And but I'm hoping she makes it for another 6 months to a year. So it's just it's sad to watch it going on, and I would bring her here and keep her here too. My dad loves them so much, but Sophie and Sonny would really they like to play, and she kind of needs to just be lying down and being by herself. So. But losing an animal is never easy, and it's anyone out there that has experienced it, and most people, anyone who's had an animal has. So it's let's all pull together for She-Ra and hope she can make it with this weed oil.
Yeah, I mean, it's your kids.
Yeah.
I can see the little Sonny in the corner of your my little phone right now.
Sophie's right here now. She's climbing over. What's going on over here? I got to take them for their walk tonight. I Snapchat it usually, taking them for a walk late at night.
So we're 90 minutes into this episode.
But we didn't finish. What were we on there with the whole situation with Brock?
We talked about Brock. We talked about the he failed and Mark Hunt's lawsuit.
That's what I wanted to touch on. And by the way, Brock thumbs up. He's always in. Curtis Axel, a good friend of mine, is good friends with Brock.
Oh, he trained with him to get him back in shape.
And Brock, he always puts over Brock. And like I said, usually you're friends with guys who you're friends with. And
he seems like a fucking cool dude. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just here for this. Like, he does seem like once you get to know him, he'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, he's cool as fuck, and he doesn't care about fame, which is the best part. So people associate guys that are like in public that just want to be normal. He didn't get into wrestling to be famous. He got into wrestling because he was an amateur wrestler and wanted to make a living doing something that he knew. So it transferred over to pro wrestling, which happened to be fucking seen by millions of people, but he didn't want to get into professional wrestling to be famous. He did it to earn a living. And there's a difference in like people, he's happy living in Canada and like living fucking by him. Like I'm the same. I live all the way in North Vegas. Fucking, I shouldn't fucking say that like on the thing, but I live away from everything. You know what I mean? And like,
it's way away from the strip.
I like being secluded from things, and like I like feeling normal at times and whatnot. But big thumbs up to Brock. He was always cool with me, and I had nothing bad to say about him. And like I said, I would. He can't manhandle me, and that's one thing. He likes to manhandle guys. And, God damn it, just two big guys.
God, that was a big guy heating its finest. He's a great guy, but he can't do anything to me.
Who's that?
So,
Brock, I want you to break his arm.
So that's a word association we have here. I talked to you. I wanted to get into Tough Enough, but there's no fucking way we're getting into this. Not the $1 million Tough Enough. I want to talk about Tough Enough on a whole. I was motivated from the other podcast, but Bruce's with topics. But we didn't even fucking scratch the surface.
We didn't even finish name association yet. So I mean, that's a whole.
That was the last one I had. But that was it. I can make up ones.
The roster's full, and Dolph Ziggler is going to get mad if I don't mention him. Dolph and me. Dolph is one of my favorite guys. We're going to the AVN Porn Awards to hang out again next week.
Oh, God damn it. I would have fucking flown myself out again. Lauren.
A lot of trannies in town, Pat, I know.
Which is exactly why I would have flown myself in again. So let's wrap this up, I think. I think we've done a hell of an episode. Let's plug some stuff.
No, I think everybody get Feed Me More Nutrition is available now on feedmemore.com and at I'llPumpYouUp.com. And also, Wake Up It's Feeding Time is available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle form, coming in February on Audible. Thank you guys very much, Pat.
WrestleProOnline.com. We have 2 shows in February, 1 in March. Check it out if you're in the New York, New Jersey area. WrestleCon.com. And go to the WrestlePro show if you're in town for WrestleMania during the week. We're on Thursday night. You can come see a whole bunch of stuff. Ryback will be on it. I will be on it. It'll be a good time. Meet us on Friday and we'll be at the same table Friday and Saturday all day long, signing autographs or hoping that someone recognizes me from the podcast. We also got CreatorProWrestling.com, show January 20th coming up. And if you want to be a wrestler, hey, hit us up. I'm Buck Never Stops across all platforms.
And I am Ryback22 on Twitter, the big guy Ryback22 on Instagram, Ryback247 on Snapchat. Thank you guys for listening. You have just listened to another episode of Conversation with the Big Guy.
Forward. It was the end of a very long training day at OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling, and at that particular time, I was a walk-on athlete trying to secure an opportunity with World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE. Practice was exhausting, and all of the wrestlers were cooling off. One of my fellow wrestlers approached me. "I feel bad for you, man. Ryan Reeves is coming here next week," said Jack Bull. Jack was a contracted wrestler that had just transferred into OVW from their other farm league, Deep South Wrestling. "What do you mean?" I nervously asked. Jack continued on. "You know the guy from $1 Million Tough Enough? He's about twice the size now, and he's coming here on Monday. He's about 300 pounds of muscle, and he's rough. Good luck, Pat." At that time, I trained alongside contracted WWE developmental wrestlers. OVW was a developmental system, kind of like what minor league baseball is to MLB. These men and women already had jobs and were awaiting their call up to the main roster. Not me. I was a proverbial new kid on the block, the low totem pole grappler, a bump and feed man, and an unpaid expendable. Every now and then, a new athlete would arrive into the system. If they had prior wrestling experience or a notable independent wrestling buzz, they could immediately work with more experienced OVW wrestlers on the television show. If they were relatively new, they were put with me to gain experience. I was told I'd be working with Ryan for a few months. It wasn't that I wasn't that good, but I could take the bumps, I could get my butt kicked very well, and if I got hurt, who cares? I didn't care. I was used to it. I was already conditioned to work matches with giants, former failed football players, shoot fighters, NCAA heavyweight wrestlers, and the like. I just wanted a job. But I had little respect for these outsiders that were just hired for their past accomplishments or their look. I actually hated them. I called them tin men because they had no heart and no love for professional wrestling. The true wrestlers and wrestling fans felt the same. Ryan was not that. Ryan was the exception to the rule, but I truly believe there was a prejudice against him for the way he was built. People couldn't understand that someone with his prowess was actually a fan of the business. I believe that prejudice followed him his entire career, and fans that don't know him still have that judgment. We had a bunch of matches in developmental, became very close, and through the last 10 years have remained brothers, though on different coasts, in different companies, and on completely different paths. In wrestling, I saw him work tirelessly and then get fired for no reason. After that, I worked 50 hours a week with him for many years at a barbecue joint just so we could afford to live and keep training and be around wrestling, hoping to get a second chance. He got rehired when no one thought he would. He gained steam and overcame injuries that should have ended his career. I've seen all the roadblocks and watched him either barrel through or steer around them to continue forward to success. At the time of this writing, he's only 35 years old, and it's downright exciting to imagine what his future holds. This book will let you know who the real Ryback is, both inside and outside of the ring. To this day, I don't know of anyone who trained harder, loved wrestling more, or devoted his entire life to it the way he did. He's the big guy with the even bigger heart. Enjoy. Pat Buck.
So you own your own business. Got small ambitions for this business? Of course you don't. Got medium ambitions for this business? Of course you don't. Who has medium ambitions? You got big ambitions. If you're a growing business with big ambitions, you want to grow with Grainger. Grainger has the products, the services, and more importantly, the commitment you need. Total commitment. If you're a growing business, Grainger's got your back. Call clickgrainger.com or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.